What's up, guys? Today we are talking about UFO hotspots. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? This is Teresa Yanaros. Thank you for coming onto my YouTube channel. Hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, hit all the button, do all the things. Today we are talking about UFO hotspots. This is a hot button topic, pardon the pun, but we are going to talk about this because it's actually really important, especially nowadays. I want to take a step back and talk for a minute about how this even really comes into people's lives. Oftentimes, as people are searching on the internet for conspiracy theories, they fall into a pocket of a community that is all really into ufology. Now, what's really interesting nowadays, especially in America, but that is worldwide, is that you can go to locations that these UFO people are really into, that they say that there's more UFO activity in these particular areas on the globe. And so people will go buy plane tickets or hop in their car and they take road trips out to these locations. Oftentimes there will be conferences or groups of people that will gather together to host events that will draw people out, draw crowds out to where they can try to see if there are UFOs in the sky. I want to talk about this because I actually have a background in ufology myself. My dad was stationed at RAF Woodbridge during the time of the Rendlesham Forest incident, which was in 1980. So I already came into a family that was really into conspiracy theories and UFOs. So by the time I became an adult and myself got really into conspiracy theories, I was already prone to wander, if you will, and get looped up into ufology, studying UFOs, trying to understand if we're alone here on the planet. And so I actually went to UFO spots, and I want to talk about the experience because I think that nowadays this experience is becoming more widespread. And I actually want to talk about why it's dangerous. As you know, if you watch this channel, I talk about occult bondage and things of that nature, and how there are traps in online media and also in cults that can draw people into occult practices. Now, there is a strong link between attending UFO hotspots and getting involved in the occult. Now, of course, on the surface, people might say, that sounds crazy. What are you talking about? But that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about my own experience. The first time I ever went to a UFO hotspot, I had not seen a UFO in my whole life. And I go out to this UFO hotspot. It's a large group of people who are really into this. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but there's a whole aspect here of what's called evocation. What is evocation? It's to call forth something. And so you get a group of people together that are trying to call down UFOs. They're usually into altered states of consciousness, and they're trying to connect with something outside of themselves. And so what this does is it calls out to demons, because demons really want to trick us into thinking that they're whatever thing that we think is friendly, so that we will enter into communication with them, so that we will draw into pacts and agreements with them, so that they can gain access to come and oppress us and control us. That's their whole purpose here. We talk a lot about spiritual warfare on this channel, but the reality is we are in a spiritual war. And so these sorts of things like UFO hotspots, it's a prime target for the enemy to come in and infiltrate and twist and try to draw people into activity with demons and to make pacts and agreements with them. Here's the thing. Demons will deceive and pretend to be all kinds of different things. When you go to UFO hotspots, there's usually all kinds of different belief systems present that draw people into the occult. You have people that talk about different UFOs from different planets or different galaxies. And so when people first walk into this, they don't really know what they're getting themselves into. They probably just think like, okay, this is kind of silly and stupid. But then here's what happens. They actually see something in the sky. This is what happened to me. You actually see something that you can't explain. Now, what this does is it destabilizes your worldview. So maybe before you were thinking like, okay, yeah, sure, I've seen pictures on the internet, UFOs, cool, whatever. But what happens when you actually see one in person is that now you start to question what you had believed before. And in that moment of worldview destabilization, you're going to start looking to people that you think have more experience than you in this arena. And you're going to start listening to them, or whatever you've experienced, you're going to go on the internet and try to research that to try to make sense of what you've experienced. Now, this is what I call occult snapping. Why? It makes you really prone to dive deeper into trying to understand how to make sense of what you've just seen. So you just have to be really careful when it comes to things like UFO hotspots. We can talk about UFOs, or we can talk about aliens. Obviously, these are two different things, but they're very intertwined when it comes to belief systems, right? So there's just a tiny hop, skip, and a jump away from UFOs into thinking, well, Are there other beings, right? You see the switch, bait and switch, right? And so something that might seem benign on the surface, we just have to equip ourselves and be really, really careful when we are considering these types of things. We also want to be careful not to go into a situation where they're doing active seances, which is what this is. It's a group of people that are, most of them, engaging in occult activity. Most of them have occult beliefs, either ideation or full world views at this point. I've been to multiple UFO hotspots, and that was in part what actually drew me deeper into occult practices. So we also can take this to the Bible and see that there are demonic signs and wonders. I encourage you to go read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It talks all about this. We just need to be aware that Satan, he offers signs and wonders, okay? But they're lying signs. They're false signs. What does this mean? It draws us away from the love of Jesus Christ. You see these things that make you question, like, well, why isn't that in the Bible? So you're looking away from the Bible. This is what a lot of people will do. They start to go, well, the Bible is just unenlightened. Then it's just these old guys sitting around writing a book, right? And they're thinking they're more enlightened because they're leaning into conspiracy theories and this information that's extra biblical, right? Outside of the Bible. And so it's really, it can get you into a sticky situation. So I just encourage you, if you're a Christian, stick to your Bible on these topics and make sure that you're not entering into situations where you could be around active seances. If you're not a Christian, I will encourage you, read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and please take heed of what I'm saying, because something that I thought was benign on the surface actually did draw me into occult bondage. I can say from experience, I am very, very grateful that the Lord delivered me out of these very dangerous belief systems and practices that only draw you into fear of the world and obsession with these topics. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about ufology, UFO hotspots, or aliens or anything, please feel free to jump down in the comments below. If you are in an online cult, if you are in a UFO cult or in the New Age and you're looking to get out and you have questions, please go down there and click the contact form below, and I'd love to get in contact with you and talk more. If you have questions about the New Age, please go over to spiritsanctified.com. You can learn all about spiritual warfare and Christian apologetics and our approach to these topics from people who have been involved in the New Age, in the occult, and ufology and conspiracy theories, and hear their testimonies of how the Lord has delivered them out of bondage and what they're doing now to combat bad information on the internet. This is Teresa Yanaros. Thanks for watching. Bye.